Welcome. Turn the sound on. We've got a lot to talk about in a short period of time. We'll talk about the next big thing. Before I get started, congratulations. Alex, my business partner. Last week, if you saw the news, he just sold his first company for $250 million. $255 million. That last five, over $250 million. And now we are on to the next big thing. So his first big thing, $250 million exit for his company, Zeusk.com. You can Google Alex Mehr, Zeusk. And that feel good?
That feels good.
It's a good exit. May every person watch get a $250 million plus exit in your first business. Now we're on to our next businesses. We've got MentorBox together, Knowledge Society, Farmers Box, whole bunch of businesses. And we want to talk to you about basically why you should listen to this presentation. That's what we're here to prove you're not wasting your time.
I was wondering where you're going with this.
You're wondering where I'm going. And let me bring this first in. So the next big thing, if you had put $10,000 into Uber in 2009, you want to write this out for people? This is important you understand how crazy the world has become and how much opportunity. $10,000 into Uber in roughly 2009, you would have $100 million in your bank account today. Okay? Just think about what you were doing in 2009 with your $10,000. Did you do anything better than this? And $100,000 would have made you a billionaire. $100,000 would have made you a billionaire. So where you invest your money and your ability to catch the next big thing, the next big trend, pretty much determines everything. Zeusk, you caught a trend in 2008, online dating.
Yep.
You built one of the largest online dating.
Mobile apps and online dating.
App. Your app was what?
2004 top grossing, 2014.
Yeah.
Across
all app. Yeah. All apps, number 4. So Alex caught trends. I've caught a lot of trends, and we think we are on to something even bigger than our past stuff. So there's a problem though, and this is why you should watch this presentation, because there's going to be more companies out there. Years from now, you'll look back on today and you'll go, if I'd put $10,000 into blank, the next big thing, you would have made $100 million. The question is, how can you identify them? But more importantly, can you even get access?
Exactly.
The problem with getting $10,000 into Uber, it's a tricky, we say that kind of tongue in cheek, because unless you knew somebody in Silicon Valley,
you have no access. I mean, it's a private deal.
It's a private deal done between Silicon Valley and Alex company, first company, Zeusk, based in Silicon Valley. You know how that valley is.
Very small, it's a clique. It's a group of people.
Yeah.
You gotta know, you gotta have access.
So if we had a time machine now and went back, if you had a time machine, went back to 2009 with $10,000 or $100,000, you still wouldn't have access. Now, we want to, if you're an accredited investor, keep watching this, because over the next 15 minutes, we're going to lay out what we think will give you access to the next big brands. Notice I said number one thing. I just want to throw this out. Now, if you can see here, this is the name of our holding company, Schweitzer Alexander. Now, this is, again, far be it from us to compare ourselves to Warren Buffett and Berkshire Hathaway, but we have many similarities. And we've modeled our company, a brand holding company, after Warren Buffett. And this is an opportunity for you to get access to the same deals that we're putting our money into, and our time and our energy and our effort. So, first of all, if you study Berkshire Hathaway, we just went, I go every year, I've gone, I don't know, for the last 5 years to the Berkshire Hathaway meeting. You've gone for the last 2?
2, yeah.
Warren Buffett's core central idea that he started, him and Charlie Munger, in the 70s was brands. Lasting brands, and Uber is now a brand. In fact, you know something's a brand when people use it as a verb.
Yep.
In the 60s and 70s, people used to say, don't make a photocopy, they would say Xerox it. You know, or when people need to blow their nose, they would say, I need a Kleenex, not a tissue. When people now need to get to the airport, They say, hey, I'll just probably Uber there. Even though they might use Lyft or another service, but he still says Uber. Very rarely do people mention other brands. They definitely don't say, let me yellow cab there. Yellow cab. Now, so brands. You want access to brands. Now that sounds simple, and maybe you're like, well, that's too obvious. I already knew that. Why am I wasting my time watching this presentation? Well, number two, I believe, and Alex and I believe, that you want digital brands now.
Yep, more than ever.
And let me just, if you're old school and you go, no, you don't need online internet, online brands. Even Warren Buffett, who's always said he doesn't like tech companies and online, guess who's the largest shareholder of Apple now?
Yep.
Because Warren Buffett, even at 90, he's at 89, I think.
Like, now it's time.
It's too, he's like, he don't want to, this
point,
trend has happened. So you want brands and you want digital online brands, okay? And thirdly, it's safer for your money to have a portfolio of brands.
Yep.
Because if you invest, even though Uber is a great story and $10,000 would have turned into $100 million, if you had put your money $10,000 into other things, there's plenty of things that don't exist anymore.
Yep.
American Apparel is a brand that grew very quickly from roughly, let's say, 2013, 14, and then went bankrupt. And so putting all your eggs in one basket is not what Berkshire Hathaway, Warren Buffett, and the wealthiest people in the world do. But no, there's very few places you can get a portfolio of brands, okay? And I'm just gonna throw out a fourth thing. You wanna get in early because yes, you can go invest in a mutual fund. You can invest in the index fund right now and you get lots of brands.
You can invest in Uber today if you want to.
Yeah, but did you see 2 years ago, Uber did around at 63 billion. Right now it's trading at 63 billion.
Yeah.
You gotta get in early. I have one person who follows me on Instagram. He put $300 into Bitcoin in like literally the first month it was out, and it's worth $38 million.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good 300 bucks. Now, we're not talking about cryptocurrencies and Bitcoin. My point is, if you study the last 100 years plus, even if you go back to Rockefeller and Vander, it's people who get in early. So what do you want to get into early? Our suggestion to you is you want to get into digital brands that are online, a portfolio of these brands, and relatively early. My mentor, Alan Nation, said, Tai, you don't have to be the first. He said, never be the first or the last. You want to get in the first third. Facebook wasn't first to social media.
No.
Zeus, you weren't the first dating site.
Not at all. Yeah.
But you were in the first third.
Third, yeah.
So when I say early, I mean the first 1/3 of the movement. Yeah. So social media was basically Friendster around 2000, then 2001, 2, you had MySpace. And in the first 5 years there, it's been about 15 years, the first third of it, Zuckerberg got in. And he's the wealthiest
That's
person.
actually a good rule. I mean, Colin Powell's 40-70 rule, the same
Yes.
thing. So you don't want to move too early, but you also don't want to move when it's like 80% there.
Yes. Colin Powell calls it that. I call it the one. Alan Nation told me the 1/3 rule. The point is, right now, is your portfolio, and by the way, this is assuming you're a accredited investor, are you getting access to digital brands online relatively early? And what I'll say to that is, for the most part, that means you have to be getting into private deals. All the money made in Uber, they're not. If you buy Uber right now in the stock market, you're not going to make the return that if you had gotten in at a private deal. But again, how do you get access? It's hard to get access. So what Alex and I have done, we're following these exact rules. We actually build and operate businesses as well as look to buy brands that we think are underpriced. What we want to suggest to you, and we're going to put a link below where you can actually talk to us personally more in depth. This isn't really something we want to talk about to everybody, especially since this is for accredited investors. But if you have $1 million liquid we are talking to you directly. If you want to find out what we're doing with Schweitzer Alexander, which is our private, it's not a fund, by the way. It's a private holding company where you can get access early to brands that we build and buy.
Mostly consumer brands.
Yes.
But we are
Which,
gonna
by the
do
way,
some B2B too.
Berkshire Hathaway is mostly consumer brands. He owns Amex, Bank of America. He owns Dairy Queen, Gillette, Geico. Alex and I are much more focused. It's what we've done. It's what we have expertise. Alex and I, by the way, some of you might be saying, well, Tai and Alex, why do I even want to listen to you? We're going to put a link below. You can schedule, if you are a accredited investor and you're serious and you have at least $1 million liquid, then we'll put a phone scheduler. You can schedule a call with Alex or I. We'll talk to you. We want to talk to serious people.
Yep.
We're pretty picky. We had about 7,000 people apply. More now, that's an old number, but 10,000 people have applied. And we've only let in, I think we're right at around 50 people.
50 something.
That we've 50 accredited investors. So, you know, what's the qualifications why you might want to do this with us? Now, I don't want to toot my own horn here, so I'll focus on Alex. Like I said, Alex just exited a company that he founded, him and a business partner, Cheyenne, founded for $255 million, $250 million. Alex and I have spent $1 billion on digital online marketing.
Yep.
On our own brands, not on an agency. Okay, that's about as much as any. Well, at one point I was the largest YouTube advertiser in the world.
Yeah, so I was the second largest on Facebook.
Yeah, and now we're still, Facebook just told us we're number 2 in the world in e-commerce.
Yep.
On Facebook marketing. So we have unique experience. I'm sorry, I said this wrong. We've spent over 500 million.
Yep.
We've generated over $1 billion in revenue. Okay, so this money has been spent profitably growing businesses. But now Alex has exited and we're ready to do the next big thing. So two or 3 years ago, we started, I'll just give you some examples. This is our qualifications. I mean, Forbes named me top 10. If you go to tailopez.com/Forbes, it'll take you to Forbes website.
Yep.
Where I was named top 10 business influencer in the world.
Over 2 million minutes watched.
Yeah, 2 billion.
2 billion minutes watched.
Yeah. I have a pretty bad, over 10 million social media followers. So Alex and I understand how to use the new world. And so what we're suggesting is the digital version of Berkshire Hathaway.
Yeah. You want to talk about MentorBox a little bit?
Yeah, so let's give you some examples.
You want me to pull up the graphs for MentorBox?
Yeah, let's give up some examples here. This is one company. We started from scratch. Alex and I put in 100 grand or so. What did we put in, 100 grand each?
100 grand each.
For our own money. It's the Netflix of books.
Yep.
We have Walmart as became a client. Yeah, you want to talk about? You can go ahead. Model? Yeah, show some of the stats.
Yeah, this is like, we basically Netflix of book videos.
Reid Hoffman, the founder of LinkedIn. $1 billion company. Ariana Huffington. We have Pulitzer Prize winners.
Yeah, 2 Pulitzer Prize winners, Nobel Prize winners. I mean, the list goes on and on. But what I really like are the graphs.
Yes.
So this is when we started. This is our revenue, quarterly revenue.
And this is 75,000 paying recurring members. Mm-hmm. Now, we're not as big as Netflix.
Not yet. We're getting there. We're going to work on it.
Yeah. Netflix has been around a lot longer and put in a lot more money. So we let people in, getting in early, by the way. So example would be MentorBox. And so we're looking now not just to build, but also to buy. It has, last valuation was what, over $55 million?
55, yeah.
So you could have got in, I told my friend Dave, he might be watching this, in 2016, you should invest in this at a $4 million valuation. And he was like, oh, I'm having some family stuff happen. I don't know if I can, I won't get into the details, but then he came in years later and goes, man, I wish I had gotten in early.
Yeah.
It's a lot better to get in at 4 million valuation than 50 million.
Right.
We now have a company called Knowledge Society. We like businesses that are like the Netflix of. So this is the Netflix of college. We want to compete. We believe that the education system is going to be radically transformed. It's too expensive for most people. There's $2 trillion in college debt, estimated in 1 to 2 trillion. No one knows the exact number because of family loans. But we think that's a disrupting. So we want to disrupt, digitally, online, disrupt existing things. The book industry, okay?
That's it.
Knowledge Society is a Netflix of college.
Disrupting, college system.
Expensive
College
Alex, by the way, has a PhD in aerospace engineering, and then he went to Berkeley for his MBA and then dropped out. I'm a college dropout. So we both have different angles on college, and we all agree that best way is to learn from mentors that have actually done it. So we built a certification system where, for example, you want to go to business school and learn from a professor, or learn online for less than the price of Netflix and get certified in a specific skill, Facebook ads or marketing or this or that, from a CEO who's done $100 million in revenue. So the value we can bring to the education system is already becoming very disruptive. We have a company called MentorBox. It was formerly called Grass-Fed Brands. We were able to buy the domain name we really liked, which is the Netflix
of farmers market.
Of farmers markets, or food, we could call it. And we own or lease over 2,000 acres of land on the East Coast. We've delivered food to how many states now?
I could do
Almost
probably all of them.
I think we
except for Hawaii.
We can't do Alaska and Hawaii because we're
and Alaska.
shipping with dry ice, meat, grass-fed beef. We have the only, we have the exclusive
40.
rights to Polyface Farm Food, which is a farm. My first mentor, Joel Salatin, basically considered probably the most famous farm in America, and he's never given an exclusive license except to MentorBox. So we're shipping grass-fed meat, chicken, eggs, beef. And so these are just 3 examples. We've got real estate holding company where we're looking for real estate deals. The beauty of this model, remember how I told people, like, any one thing can fail, but if you put money in here into our holding company, Schweitzer, we just call it SA for now, that money then can, in a very tax efficient way,
right there,
be put across, and we can actually, when I say tax efficient, if there's too much profit in one place, this is what Warren Buffett does. You can take the profit and reallocate it to a company that maybe needs some growth. So when if you click the link below, schedule a call with us, give us a little bit of info, best time to call you. It's no obligation. You don't have to spend any money. We're looking for basically 1 out of 20 accredited investors that we talk to are a really good fit. We've got all the material prepared, by our lawyers, and we want to get into more details. We just want to give you kind of an introduction to this. I was telling Alex before we came in here, we were eating some food. I just said, I'm more excited about this than anything I've ever done in my life. There's more opportunity. You mark my words. 5 years from now, we'll look back and go, if we don't do this, we'll look back and go, we missed a century. Every century opportunities come like this. 100 brands, let me switch since you have that there. 100 big brands are either bankrupt or on their way to bankruptcy. Toys R Us. I mean, remember, everybody knew Toys R Us. Sears. And how long, this list goes on, 100 brands. Already, the retail apocalypse, they call it. Well, in every apocalypse, when there's blood in the water,
there's an opportunity.
Yeah, that was Rockefeller's favorite saying. When there's blood in the streets, that's when there's opportunity. And that doesn't happen all the time.
Yeah, and people got to understand, it's not these businesses aren't going out of business because people aren't buying. In fact, the economy is growing. It's not like we're in a recession.
Right.
People are buying more.
Yes.
It's just they're not buying the way they used to be.
Yes.
And that's like a huge shift. I mean, the reason I was successful in online dating is because I saw the trend from website dating to mobile dating.
Yes.
So it's a paradigm shift. You got to position yourself at the right place at the right time.
The inflection point.
Inflection point, exactly. So this is exactly that point in history, to do this.
Yeah, there's never been trillion-dollar companies before. There's Apple, there's Amazon, Berkshire Hathaway is $400 or $500 billion company. You got Microsoft. There's momentous wealth. I had lunch with a guy. We're based in LA, New York, and Miami, and London. And I had lunch with a big money manager guy in New York. I didn't even tell you this. He manages $2.5 billion for the wealthiest families in the world. And I said, what's happening? He's like, I've never seen more people becoming wealthy. Like our clientele is just growing. People are hitting us from around the world because we're at the inflection point where there's a shift. There's still money, but it's shifting from old brands into new brands. So if you can catch even one or two of those, and we have other brands that we don't want to put on here that we're in the process of trying to buy.
Right.
If one of these does well, the whole portfolio and you're getting the benefit of having safety in numbers. I think there's safety in numbers. That's how Alex and I are investing our own money. We're not just building single brands. We've done that before. But there's risk. There's economic risk. There's regulatory risk. And there's economic risk. And so for us, to have across a portfolio of well-designed brands. And by the way, each of these, we could talk about this when you schedule a call one-on-one. There's about 12 industries that have $1 trillion or more in revenue globally. And so you have real estate, you have food, you have tech, you have medical or healthcare. You have education. You have apparel. I'm not going to list them all, but we're going into every single one because finance. We have a big thing with finance. Media is another one. And so our basic premise is you go into $1 trillion industries, and even if you only do 1%, it's 1% of a large addressable market. The TAM on these things are huge.
TAM is total addressable market.
So we're doing things. I live kind of my life by what Charlie Munger says. He said his grandfather gave him a piece of advice. He said, son, opportunities are rare. It's a rare life that's bathed in opportunity all the way. So when you see one, do it and don't do it small. And we see this period in time, roughly between 2015 and 2022, 7-year kind of cycles, as a monumental shift in money and wealth. And so we want to invite a small group of you to potentially be a part of that with us. Okay? The opportunities, Alex and I have especially me, I've traditionally used my own money to grow my own brands, which is fine. The opportunity is too big.
Right.
Alex raised $80 million for his first business. And so we're doing kind of a hybridized happy medium between what I did and what he did. And I don't want to throw out one last thing. This is not a holding company.
This is not a fund.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
It is a holding company.
Yeah. Opposite of what I just said. This is a fund, not a fund. And the difference in a fund, most funds are not actively involved. So funds are just making bets. They're going, we think this company's going to do well. But I don't sleep well at night knowing that if something isn't going well, I can't get involved to fix it. And Berkshire Hathaway is so smart, Warren Buffett, because he owns controlling interests in companies. So if one day a manager is doing poorly, you saw this in some of the companies he's owned, like Bank of America, Salomon Brothers, and he steps in and gets things on track.
He became the CEO himself.
Yes.
At one point,
And he changes the compensation plan. So this is an active, not a passive strategy, which we believe, if you look at the top of the Forbes list, nobody's there passively, unless they inherited their money, the Walton family and things like that. But if you look at all of those people that are in the top 100, or let's say the top 20, they're all actively involved in the business because things need to be tweaked. Exactly. And so all these businesses, we have CEOs and managers running them, but we, co-founders at Schweitzer Alexander, we sit there watching. We use what Sam Walton taught, which is over-the-shoulder management, meaning we don't micromanage and we don't undermanage. You know, what did Warren Buffett say? The secret to wealth, put your eggs in a basket and watch the basket. So this is a basket. And if you want to be a part of this basket, we're watching the basket because we have more to lose than anybody. I always say, never get in a plane that's flown by remote control. You want the pilot up there. So if the plane starts to have a little turbulence, that guy wakes up and pays attention. If he's down on the ground, he might get a phone call. You might be watching a YouTube video and your plane crashes into the side of a mountain. That's why I personally don't like passive investment strategies. So if you want to passively invest, you can invest in mutual funds and all the things maybe you're already doing. This is something different. And as far as we know, this is the only digital holding company
in the U.S. I don't know one internationally, but in the U.S. I don't know one.
Yeah. What country is it in?
German one.
Oh, I know who you're talking about. Yeah. If you want to invest in Germany, you can go do that one. If you want to invest in the United States, the largest economy in the world, click the link below. Just give us best time to call you, best number to call you. We won't spam you, nothing weird. You don't have to put a credit card in. Let's talk. If you're a fit, if you get what we're doing, I tell Alex, we want people who get it. So some people don't believe in the internet, believe it or not. Don't put it in because we don't want to convince anybody.
Yep.
Now, that doesn't mean you have to believe everything we say, but I'm saying we're looking for people who get it. You see right before, oh, okay, Instagram replaced Kodak. Tesla replaced Ford. Amazon replaced shopping centers.
Yep.
Airbnb replaced Hilton. Netflix replaced
Comcast or something.
Well, Warner Brothers and some of these big companies, MGM. So if you want to be part of this digital disruption, you want access, private deals, diversification in a holding company, one investment gets you diversification, active investing. You want people with a track record. As far as we know, we don't know anybody with a track record of digital that's done over $1 billion in revenue.
In their own brands.
Yeah, in their own brands, spending $500 million on online ads that are offering an opportunity like this.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe Jeff Bezos, but you can't invest with Jeff Bezos. I would invest with Jeff Bezos, but he seems busy these days. He's getting all ripped.
That's right.
He made so much money, he decided to get ripped.
He's working out now.
Bill Gates never got that cue. He stayed scrawny his whole life. But as they say, when you're the richest person in the world, you can just hire bodyguards. He doesn't need muscles. He could just be like floating around as a brain connected to stuff. So we look forward to talking to the handful of you who really get this. You're really excited. We hope to meet some of you in person. We've got a lot of other stuff we don't want to say publicly per se, even though now the law changed in 2013. We're allowed to talk about accredited deals or private placement deals publicly, but we're only accredited investors can get in. So if you got $1 million liquid, you're an accredited investor. You can be anywhere in the world, by the way. Okay? You're not crazy. You're not a serial killer or other things like that. We screen a little bit for, we want to be around people we want to be around, that we would be around. We want people that would have a beer with.
Yeah. Do you want to talk about the intangibles, like the networking aspect of it and the fact that there's a club around it?
Sure. Let's talk about that real quick. We went over our 18 minutes. I hope you guys aren't bored. Yeah.
So, I mean, as part of it, we consider this investor club as a group of people that we want to build a long-term relationship with. And on top of it, they themselves, among each other, they're forming partnerships. We have events all the time. We invite our investors.
We have quarterly events. Warren Buffett does it once a year. We do it once a quarter.
Yep.
We hang out with people that are in the group. We can't guarantee. I mean, you get access to Alex and I. And for founding members, we gave even more access. So depending when you're watching this video, that opportunity might not be there anymore, but if you're watching this video soon after we put it out, you want to get in relatively early because we're giving access where me and Alex are actually consulting and helping people grow their brands that are outside of what we're doing.
Exactly.
Just as a perk for people who believed in us early.
Yep.
Get in early.
Yep.
I can't tell
Take
you.
action.
Catch trends, man. Catch people go, if you could go back in time, Tai, you could be 18 years old again. What would you tell yourself? Be the smartest person in the world? No. There's a lot of smart people that never get it when it comes to money. I would say probably the most important thing is be lucky.
Right.
Be lucky. But there's a little bit of skill to luck. And one of those things is catching things early. Less intelligent people, you know, if you study one of the greatest scientific theories of all time, Alex has got a science background. I saw 1,000 of the smartest people in the world voted on the greatest theory ever put forward by mankind, and it was a theory of natural selection. Mm-hmm. And the way to really explain that is, it's not the smartest or the strongest who survive. It's those most adaptable to the environment in which they find themselves. So wealth is predicated around adaptability. And what's a less fancy word of being adaptable? Catch the trend early.
Yep.
The first person to make fire, he saw somebody make it, he goes, I'm going to do that. You know, when the Gutenberg press came out and books came out, the first people, you had people like Newton. People started reading. And then 90% of the world was just stuck in, you know, ignorance.
Yeah.
As few people caught the trend. And Rockefeller, richest man, in modern dollars, he'd have between 400 and 600 billion. He would look at Bill Gates, Warren Buffett, Jeff Bezos, all that he would say, kiss the Godfather's ring, my little grasshoppers. He has more money. And I just read Titan, which is the biography of Rockefeller. He got in this thing called oil early. There was no cars yet. They were using it for kerosene for lamps. But boy, then cars came around. And, you know, he had a monopoly. It was broken. He owned 90% of the oil production in the world at one point.
That's insane.
And companies we know now, small companies like Exxon, Chevron, Shell, they all come from one man. Now, I'm not saying we want to be Rockefeller and be like, you know, totally ruthless or whatever. Maybe he gets a bad rap. But Carnegie, steel. He's like, you know what? People are going to probably want steel. It's a good trend to catch. Bill Gates goes, and Steve Jobs goes, I think people are going to want to use computers in their home. And all the smart intelligentsia was going. I remember there was a famous professor at Berkeley who said, I think the entire market for people who want a personal computer is one person in America. This has to be the oversight of the century, okay? And so right now, what we believe the one thing is the transition from traditional brick and mortar businesses to online. And if you don't believe us, Amazon. 1994, Jeff Bezos quit a job. He got in early. Cost him $150,000 to make a website. Now you can build a website for $1.50.
Right.
Cost him $150,000. He borrowed $300,000 from his friends and parents and family and his own money. And boy, did it pay off.
Yep.
To catch the trend. And so don't think that there's not more trends. There's trends in every single area here. Real estate, there's still trends. There's WeWork, but there's more to be done. There's no WeWork residential, which is a $20 billion commercial. Well, residential is bigger than commercial.
Yep.
Much bigger. Food. Jeff Bezos bought Whole Foods because he's a smart man. But don't think there's a monopoly that Whole Foods had. There's opportunity. And tech. And education. We're already apparel. We already have the beginnings of a company. Finance, we have something we don't want to say here that we think is just, well, online banking's big, put it that way. There's some unicorns. I can't read what I wrote. Oh, media.
Yeah.
The opportunity, the trend is for me to get better handwriting. So it's all here. You know, it's all in front of our face, and it's funny that you look back. One of my favorite stories, there's a tweet that a guy did, and he kept it in 2008 or 9. And he had gotten fired from his job, and then he went to interview at Yahoo, and they turned him down. And he wrote a tweet, and he goes, well, maybe everything turns out for good. I think there's some big opportunities for me in the future. And he stayed optimistic, and he saw that the world was in this period of flux, and he started an app called WhatsApp, which is now the largest phone company in the world. And Jeff Bezos, 3 or 4 years later, bought him. Mark Zuckerberg bought him for $18 billion, 30 employees. And so we're optimistic like that. And there's more opportunities. And there's better ones than have ever been done before. Because we have the benefit of hindsight now to see what we think will be better in the future. And there's more people on the planet than there's ever been. And there's more wealth than there's ever been. And there's no reason you can't be a part of that with us. So, with that hip hip hooray.
That was great.
Yeah, look forward to meeting some of you in person, some of you on the phone, to have some of you as investors in our holding company. And for those of you who, for whatever reason, don't, work with us, I hope you find your own Schweitzer Alexander. And if you find one, tell us about it, because we might try to buy it.
That's right.
Or go to Germany.
Yeah.
Two choices. I'm half German. My grandma's from Germany, but I asked my grandma, she's 101, what's the best decision she ever made in her life? And she said, when I got on a boat, 1939, and I think it was July, and I saw the Statue of Liberty, and I came to America. So she went this way to America, so I guess you could find that other company you could go to. We're mostly we're doing international stuff, but obviously America is a big part of that. We'll take an opportunity anywhere we think, but America has a lot of advantages. Relatively good legal system, a little bit litigious, but yeah, we will go. We want brands. We want international brands. And by the time you watch this video, we should have a lot more opportunities that we couldn't even put in this video. So click the link below. Look forward to talking to a few of you. It'll be me or Alex. Sometimes it'll be Maya, my cousin, who runs some of our companies. And meet you in person, invite you to our quarterly events. We do fun events. Life's about making money, but more importantly, it's about enjoying life too. It's more to life than money, unless you're Alex. Alex says there is nothing. It's good. He's very focused.
Stoic philosophy.
You're somewhat stoic. I don't know if you're a stoic, but he's financial stoic. Phoic. We'll invent a new word. I think Alex is the reincarnation of Carnegie or Rockefeller. Who would you rather be? Vanderbilt, Rockefeller, Carnegie, Ford.
Carnegie. Ford was good.
Ford.
Ford. Henry Ford.
I like the WhatsApp guy.
Yeah, you're right.
Walk with 18 billion in 3 years. He may make about as much as Travis from Uber.
I don't know what was his stake.
I think he made I think that they made like 6 billion each.
Okay.
But 6 billion in 3 years is better than 12 billion in 10 years.
And get all this publicity and has to fight cities and regulation for Uber.
I mean, don't get us wrong. We wish we had done Uber and Lyft. By the way, we have a transportation idea. Don't think there's Uber, there's Lyft. There's maybe Juno is a third one, but there's more opportunity. Just think about this. There's McDonald's, Burger King, Taco Bell, Wendy's. There's lots of room in transportation. It's not a complete monopoly. Even with social media.
Yep.
Mark Zuckerberg might get broken up. Facebook, who knows? There's opportunity. I'll leave you to this. Joel Salatin told me, my first mentor, he goes, I don't know how people can sleep with all the opportunity there is in the world. And you watch the news and you think everything's bad and the sky is falling, and then you realize it's only falling for the people who don't look up. Look up, look out there. This is a great time to be alive. And it's a great time. If you're a accredited investor and you're sitting on cash, I mean, you got 3 basic options. You can keep it in cash, which you're losing money every day because of inflation. You can put it in a bank, FDIC insured, which is fine. But last I checked, banks are paying you 1% to 2%, which means you're still losing money.
Barely.
Yeah, I mean, something like 0.8.
Yeah.
And thirdly, you can invest it The problem is most investment money is chasing deals that everybody else knows about.
Exactly.
When you buy an index fund, that's great. You're going to make 8 to 10% on your money, which means every 7 years you'll double your money, maybe, assuming no tax. But there's also people doing 100,000% return on their money.
Exactly.
And we're not promising that, and we're not guaranteeing that. You know, our lawyers would want us to say you can always lose money when you invest, and anybody who tells you you'll never lose money with them, you should probably avoid them like the plague, because it's not real. But we do know that our central thesis has been proven out over and over. We've done it with our own, like I said, Alex just exited last month for $255 million. So it's not a fantasy. It's real.
Happened.
It's real. So, and we're doing it right now. Every day these companies are already generating revenue. So let's talk. Click the link below or in the corners. Look forward to talking to you.